Sunday lunchtime. Worcester head to the Memorial Stadium, where they can guarantee their own safety by sending Bristol into the First Division. Here's Graham Simmons.
Every week in the Premiership is dog-eat-dog. Never more so, though, than this week for Worcester. Drown Bristol, and in so doing, stay afloat in the big league. A killer instinct isn't always something you readily associate with Worcester Warriors, but they need to find one. By high noon, come Sunday.
Yeah, exactly that. That's what I spoke to the players about. You know, whenever they've sort of really got on their backs about underperformance, we've turned up the next week and played really well, you know, and that's unacceptable if you think about it, really, that we've got to rollick the guys every time to get a performance, really. We need to intrinsically motivate ourselves, really, and there's no bigger motivation than securing our future in the Premiership.
The mother of all Mother's Day wins last Sunday was timely. Not necessarily a thing of beauty, but certainly a testament to the heart, effort and character of the players. That and a team barbecue held after the debacle the week before at London Irish with the aim of reigniting some flames. Clearly it worked.
No barbecue this week then?
No barbecue this weekend.
Worked last week?
Yeah, it did work last week. We were a bit, the boys were a bit flat. You know, we were upset really at the quality of the performance. It just wasn't good enough. So there were some strong words said.
Barbecue with attitude then, was it?
Well, not at the barbecue. We did a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde last week, and it was a nice guy one day and nasty guy the next.
Apart from the pork chops, the other key influence last week against Gloucester was a Gloucester player on loan to Worcester. Certainly, it was Willie Walker's kicking which plumped Worcester's cushion at the bottom of the table and at the same time knocked Gloucester clean off the top.
Did you keep your head down after the game with your Gloucester teammates after the Sunday game?
Yeah, I had a couple of beers and, you know, we talked about the game. They gave me a bit of stick, but it was okay.
Last week when you were checking through Willie Walker's on-loan agreement, how surprised were you to see no Gloucester clause in there?
Well, I was delighted there was no Gloucester clause in there, so obviously he was fantastic. Well, I was just delighted, let's put it that way.
Every time you come to Worcester, you wander around scratching your head. Fabulous facilities, great stadium, supportive chairman, and yet a team that in the past 3 years has been stuck in a time warp. The all-court game that was supposed to be replacing the effective but limited serve and volley tactics has yet to fully materialise. And instead you hear an awful lot of the F word. The F word being frustration.
Yeah, we're obviously pretty unhappy with where we're at and how the season's gone. So I was looking at the league table today, and I think if you look at the amount of games teams have lost, there's not a great deal of difference between 1 and 11 at the moment. There's very little. So we knew it was going to be tight, and we knew we had to win the tight ones. And you know, it's been hugely disappointing for us so far this year.
Run, you Warriors!
Certainly you feel for the supporters. Worcester's gates rarely, if ever, drop below 5 figures. Last weekend was a club record 12,000, and this for a team who've been bottom 3 for 3 years. Presumably, that was why Mike Ruddock last week issued a public apology for the team's shortcomings this season.
What we need to do is show more consistency, really, with that level of performance, and not just deliver when our backs are against the wall. And I think that's probably the hardest battle we've got at the club. Is this club has, as you say, been involved in a few relegation battles and delivered really with their backs against the wall, and it's changing our mentality from delivering when your backs are against the wall to actually just delivering full stop.
Whatever it is Worcester haven't got, it's not guts or determination. Pat Sanderson got a crack in the mouth in the recent game against Northampton, went off, had 2 teeth taken out by a passing dentist and came back on to finish the match. Now, if you wanted to question his commitment to the cause, you'd be in a queue of one.
Yeah, my wife's going to divorce me on grounds of degraded looks. But,
she could have done that from the start, couldn't she?
Some might say. Yeah, I mean, it was quite painful. It's never nice to lose a couple of teeth, but it's part
but then to go back out and play again, Pat.
Yeah, but it's part and parcel of the game, isn't it? I mean, the way it's gone now is a really, really physical game, and you don't, like I said, was it Pierre Berbizier said, if you can't take a punch, play table tennis or something along those lines. Well, you know, that applies more than ever now.
Well, for all their brio, though, Worcester once again are surviving and not competing. 5 different fly halves in one season tells you all you need to know about too many injuries and arguably too little strength in depth. But at least the Warriors now have a golden chance to draw an early line under their troubles and start looking ahead to next season. Assuming, of course, they can finish off Bristol.
If you can beat the team that's number 1 in the league, beating the team that's number 12 shouldn't be a problem, should it?
No, but you know what's resting on this game, and if you're in the Bristol change room, there's not much motivation needed for. If we lose, we're down. If we win, then we're in with a massive chance of staying up. So it's a big game all round, really.
We're pretty used to playing with pressure here, especially this time of the year. You know, this is not the first time we've done it, and we'd like it to be the last. But you know, we're pretty well versed at this. But again, it's not a position we want to be in. But I think we've got a group of guys that respond well to pressure. But it's the type of pressure and that we've got at the moment is external, isn't it? It's, you know, what we need to do is start responding to the pressure we put on ourselves, and that is the step we hoped we'd make this year, and clearly we haven't yet.
Certainly it's going to be a huge game this weekend. So much potential down at Six Ways and yet so little to show for it. I'll give you the easy question. What are the main problems and how do you fix them?
Well, I think, as we saw there's plenty of physical leadership. Pat Sanderson's a wonderful captain in that way, but I don't think there's been a tactical rudder there at all. And you see that. Graham's point, 5 fly halves this season. You need someone to make a stamp in that position, say it's me. And that's why they've gone to Willie Walker, who was, you know, he was a bit part player at Gloucester. He's now a very important player there. And at scrum half, in their early years when they came back, Matt Powell was the key man. He was a forward scrum half. He just chipped and he just chipped and pushed and he probed for the forwards. Ryan Powell's come on to try and develop the game. Powell hasn't come. They've got to get a world-class 9 and an outstanding 10, or an outstanding 10 and a world-class 9. Till they get that half-back right, they won't have shape. And when we watch Worcester, you always think, what's the shape of their game? And I can't see it.
That's the thing, there's no balance. Sometimes Bath overdo it with this offloading game, but at least you can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to break a defensive wall down, where unfortunately Worcester, so many times this season, they try to bash straight through it with no sympathy on the pass, not looking to move the ball. Sam Tuitupa was a big loss for them because he was one guy that delivered the spark. They need, again, I agree with Stuart, they need something there for 9 and 10, but they also need somebody who's going to create, whether a big winger like a Tuolangi, to try and just get them going forward. They're just one-dimensional.
Yeah, well, right, we talk about consistency. One-dimensional, you want someone to get them going forward, and you talk about a good 9 and 10. What you need, a good 8. Yeah. And Kai Horseman has a tremendous season for them all season. Performs week in, week out alongside Pat Sanderson, and he had an outstanding game against Gloucester. Really took the game to Gloucester at every possible opportunity. He's got such wonderful hands. He's as good a hands as Tony Dipro, this man. He's not the biggest number 8 in the world, but he punches above his weight. He's always in the mix, and he is a great line-out player for them, alongside sort of Rawlinson and Bowley that are coming through. They have got the sort of players who can win on more frequent occasions. But as Mike Ruddock says, they need the consistency of the Kai Horsemans to make them push on.
Well, again, 3 years now, they've been fighting down the bottom of the table. It's not good enough for a town like Worcester. With Cecil Duckworth putting all the backing in there, something will have to happen. If Mike Ruddock can't deliver, you're probably given another 12 months. You know, he will know when it's time to go. 15
seconds on Bristol, I'm afraid, because we're running out of time. Last rites or beginning of the Great Escape?
Well, Easter's coming on, and if you're a believer, then miracles happen about this time. I'm not, so it's last rites.
Going to be tough for them, isn't it? Very, very succinct. Before we go, let's just